One-foot-flipper.
Hi, Paige here, the One Foot Flipper. Thought today we'd look at my top, best, and most interesting sales from September. Probably should have done this several weeks ago, but I'm only just now getting around to it. Those of you who are subscribed, you might see I've been doing a lot of shorts lately. They actually got me to an all-time 48-hour high in views yesterday before dropping off a cliff after that. Like today, 24 hours later, I'm at like 10% of the hourly views that I was just yesterday with the exact same content. YouTube gives and it takes away. So does eBay. My eBay sales over that month were at about my lowest they ever tend to be, which is my worst months ever tend to dip just below 6,000, and that was one of those months because sometimes I just don't have any good stuff. But that's okay. I don't need to make any particular amount of money, and those months where I do tend to have bad sales, I often didn't put in a huge amount of labor either because I was probably full of items and only selling through on them. Okay, just a moment here. We will start taking a look at those sales. But first, let's look at something else. Now, I get all my shrink wrap directly from GyroPack, and I think you should too. I've got a link down in my description there that'll even give you a bonus. And I get a little bit too if you use that link. But otherwise, GyroPack is not paying for this video. I just have the link below. But I like to have on hand a variety of sizes of bubble mailers and poly mailers. I always use GyroPack. Link down below in the description. Get a little bit of discount. If you see me using something that's not GyroPack, it's only because I bought out another seller and I got their bags too, and I blow those out and get rid of those as quick as I can. Okay, let's take a look at these sales. These are, maybe they're in order, maybe they're not. Some of these things will have sold on an offer of some sort, but I really only do 10% off offers, so the prices you see here are going to be correct or very close to it. A lot of 2 Bigfoot monster trucks from the 70s. I believe I got this from buying out another reseller. This is a Ben's find. ZoomText magnifier and screen reader for old versions of Windows, but for some reason this thing is a bolo and sells for a lot of money. Sold for $75.27. I was scared to death of, whenever I sell old system software like this, I'm always scared to death it's going to get returned because half the time it's purchased by people who don't understand what they're purchasing. But this one did not get a return, so that's great. This is one of those mini Warhammer tanks and stuff I sell. I believe I got this one from, I might have gotten this one from Fox Hunter. Did I? No, I did not get this one from Fox Hunter because it didn't have his name in the SKU. This sold for $79.99. The extra detailing they added to it, such as the chains and all that, added about 20 bucks to the value. Otherwise, this would have been a $59.99 item. All right, this one is, when in doubt, part it out. These are all pieces from a Warhammer terrain kit that I didn't have the whole kit. This particular lot of pieces sold me $68.37, and I believe I've sold every piece from the terrain kit now, and my incomplete set did sell for more in total than a brand new complete in-box one did. Yeah, these ornaments are only $6.99, but when somebody buys 10 of them in one shot, that is 70 bucks, and that makes it a sale worth talking about. I have a lot of custom ornaments available in my stores. Why don't you get them right now? If you send me a message, I'll sell you a bunch of blanks cheaper than normal if you want to write the names yourself. Otherwise, my wife will write them, or sometimes I have them pre-printed, depending on what the name is. But if you want even one name that I don't have pre-printed, I'm going to write all of them so they match. Right, next up, another Warhammer tag, $74.99. This one, probably a flea market buy. Not much to say about it. It's blue. I made good money on it. A TI-99 untested computer. I don't know why this was untested. Probably because I didn't have the right TV nearby or whatever else, or I just didn't want to deal with it. A lot of things like this, your video game completist collectors, they just want it to put it in the box on their shelf to say they have it, or to hook it up and have it on that shelf of like 40 consoles all hooked up to one TV. And they're never actually going to use it, but $64.99. Got this from buying on another reseller. 27 Atari 2600 games in a luggage case with a stack of manuals. Untested, because by the time I got this, I had found this in a lot of things that I bought from another reseller. I had already packed up all of the Atari 2600s that I had, and I may have already even shipped them all out, but one lot, 59 bucks, that much. Generally, Atari 2600 games are not valuable individually. Sure, there are some individually valuable ones. You'll see one later in this video, but they're generally best sold in lots because the average one is not worth the cost of shipping. Sometimes they're not even worth the cost of shipping in the box. All right, more terrain from that same Warhammer deal. This was 3 little mausoleum buildings. Got 60 bucks for these. Hey, it's a medical item, but it's only a piece of a medical item, so I can sell it. A Perry Trek S compressor battery pack with car charger. Found this in the bins. Sold it for $69.99, and it sold fairly quickly. I always look for medical stuff in the bins. Even if I can't sell the entire thing, a lot of times I can just sell pieces of it for real money. Fox Racing armored racing jacket. This is so when you fall off of your motorcycle that you don't scrape yourself to death. Don't be like me in my early to mid 20s. I was riding a motor scooter, little bitty 70cc Honda Job, from the beach to the campsite, and I was just having fun, going around corners and leaning over extra hard. I managed to even scraping the foot pegs on the ground to make sparks, and I managed to catch a foot peg on a pothole or something, and it tossed me off that thing. And I'm only wearing swim trunks and flip-flops, by the way. It tossed me off that thing, took all the skin off every part of my body that I ever would want to put pressure on, and I spent the next week and a half the most miserable I had ever been to that point. Had I been wearing this armored jacket and some jeans instead, I would have been fine, other than limping away. Oh, the motor scooter wasn't fine either. It was totaled. I think I still have some pieces of the motor scooter, though, out in my shed. This was a magic card sale of multiple cards, total of 80 bucks. Most of the money being in this Goblin Wizard. Goblin Wizard is one of those cards that Wizards of the Coast has promised to never reprint. And it's rather unique in its abilities, thus it sells for $55. I believe this has been a $100 card in the past. Magic card prices are not stable, so don't hold on to them long term. I got this one from Fox Hunter, Daemon X Machina, region-free Nintendo Switch game, $67.99. I'm sure this is some sort of anime-related thing, because Fox Hunter loves this anime. A singular magic card, foil Mog Catcher, not Fox Catcher. This is an early one of the earliest sets that had foils in Magic the Gathering. I don't think it's reserve list, but I don't think it's had many reprints, and this foil version was worth $75. But all those expensive cards came out of my own personal deck that I finally decided to take apart and sell. I got this from Fox Hunter, Smallville Complete Series DVD, $59.87. Some Complete Series are worth money, some aren't. Nike Bauer Hockey Bag, $55. Got this at the bins. Would have cost me between $4 and $6, depending on what it weighs. Probably closer to $6, maybe even $7. But quick sale, $54.87. I love picking up hockey bags. A lot of sellers don't look at them or deal with them, so I got no competition for hockey bags at the bins. Fisher-Price constructs parts and pieces, mostly from the Space 8 set. This took a long time to sell. I may have even taken a lower offer. I think I actually took an offer of $35 on this. This took forever to sell. I had the same set when I was a kid, though. 5 pounds of yarn. various brands, brand new, $39.99. I got this at the bins. I know what 5 pounds cost at the bins, so I had $11 into this. Sold it for $39.99. Not bad. All right, got this one from Fox Hunter. It is a Warhammer Venom Crawler figure for Warhammer 40,000. $43.99, even though the paint job is terrible. More stuff I got from Fox Hunter. Transformers Power Core Combiners, lot of 11, $39.99. I would have overlooked these if I had seen them on their own because they don't look very good to me. They look very chintzy. They look like Happy Meal toys. Maybe they are Happy Meal toys. I'm not sure. Another Fox Hunter item that was surprisingly valuable. I would have also overlooked this tiny thing if I'd seen it in the bins. Power Ranger Ninja Storm Thunder Morpher. It has lights and sounds, and I think it's supposed to shoot discs. And somebody paid $40 for this thing. Would you pay $40 for that thing? I wouldn't. Posters for 2 of Cheech and Chong's movies. Looks like it's sold for. Looks like I sold it for $49.66 shipped. It shows a refund there. It was probably a negotiated deal between me and the customer. And you see in the custom label, Amy, which means I got those from Amy. A Jimmy Dancing Snowman. I believe I sold this at a much lower offer, that's $77.23, because the price on these things collapsed in between when I listed it and when it finally sold. When somebody sent me that much lower offer, I looked and I said, oh, yep, that's market on these things now. The Jimmy stuff will go up and down randomly, very randomly in price. I don't know if it does it consistently via the season or not, but a Jimmy item can be a $100 item one season and it can be a $30 item the next season. I guess it's just all based on the ebb of supply and demand. Hey, it's a golf club. Probably got this at the bins. $51.99 Tiger Shark Power Pod Senior Flex. This one's an instruction card for an arcade game. This would have either, if it was a cocktail table, that's the style where you've got the glass table, this would have sat under the glass, or if it was the stand-up type, this would have gone behind the plexiglass, use it on the lower right-hand corner. This is for the game Cruisin', which is not Cruisin' USA. Cruisin', most of you will know as the City Connection. You will be probably familiar with the Nintendo NES version of the game. I tried to piece together a complete Cruisin' or City Connection game for approximately 20 years. Because it's an incredibly rare game in real form. I was able to come up with one marquee, that's the nameplate at the top. I had three circuit boards. I believe one was Cruisin' and 2 were City Connection. And that Cruisin' instruction card right there, and that is it. As far as I know, me and the other 2 guys who've been trying to do the same thing, there does not exist a 100% complete Cruisin' or City Connection machine anywhere in the world that has all of the artwork on it. The closest one is there's a Cruisin' machine that has the stickers on the side but is missing the control panel artwork. And then there's one someplace else that has the control panel artwork but doesn't have the stickers or the nameplate at the top. And the City Connection artwork's even rarer than the Cruisin' artwork. But yeah, this was my last bit of that dream. I had sold the rest of it years ago. A new in-box Nishika N8000 3D 35mm camera. Sold this for $119.80. You can't actually get this film developed anymore, at least not under the normal circumstances. There is aftermarket people who deal with it in a different way to make a digital product out of it. But yeah, people will still buy cameras that you can't use properly anymore. And when they did have the film, it was ridiculously expensive. This is a $112 sale of Warhammer figures that I had in bulk. See 5 of these guys at $9 a piece, and 5 of those guys at $9 a piece. Not bad. And finally, remember I said some Atari cartridges are valuable? This is an Activision Freeway prototype cartridge. So I've got it taken apart here in the photos. Shows the handwritten Activision thing on a dev cartridge. showing the game running. I wasn't sure. This cartridge could be actually a prototype version, or it could be production code. I don't have the ability to dump the ROM to check, but either way, this sold for $269.99, and I have 1 or 2 prototype cartridges from the same buy still left in my store. Alright, I think that's all of the that's all of the big sales for the month. Thanks for hanging around till the end. Hope to see you again soon.
Forgive me, I don't know his actual name, but his YouTube name is onefootflipper.